Welcome back, folks, to the Via Pinstriping page. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching. So somebody asked me recently, I'm going to see if I could do this with one hand, but somebody asked me, how do I get such a fine line? Well, number one, I really like these Kafkas. They have this sort of a ballpoint pen situation when they break in, meaning it becomes a tip, a fine tip, but at the very end, it sort of frays into this little teeny tiny cotton ball, and it just creates a really nice line for me, at least. They're not all like that. I've had one or two that wasn't great, but people ask me, right, so how do you get such a fine line? So one thing that I do is when I load the brush, right, let me load this brush. Let me reduce it. Of course, a lot of what new folks struggle with usually just falls under a lack of practice, right? And I say that every time because all this stuff just kind of comes with practice. But one thing is, when I load the brush, I don't have it that loaded, right? It's not like overloaded. It's not twice the size of the brush, right? So if you overload it, just palette in a different spot, right? That I was paletting there. Just palette in a different spot, get a lot of that paint off. When you load the brush, you want it to be loaded to where it's maybe like, you could still see the hairs and it still has its original shape. But you don't want it to be overloaded, like, I don't know how to explain it, right? So not completely well loaded, but not underloaded, right? Make sure that you're going all the way down when you reduce. Make sure you're not just skimming the top, right? And one of the big things that I do once I get it loaded correctly is I'll come to the tip and I'll just roll the tip off, right? Roll the tip, just give it a little bit of nice shape, and that gives you a little bit more of a finer point to start off with. Now, whether or not you're pressing too hard, you're overloading all that, that's again going to come with practice, right? And more than likely you're just crashing into the panel. So here I was doing a little bit of practice. More than likely you're doing this number where you're just really pressing down and you're really kind of getting after it, right? You got to work on the very tip. I'm doing this through the camera, so work on the very tip. Didn't really have a chance to get this thing right because I'm holding it with one hand, but just very tip, right? If we look at the brush, right, you see this, there's a black part of the magazine, there's a white part. Let's see if I can get this right. You want to be working on that much of the tip. You see that? That much of the tip before it actually becomes a full-size brush. So about yay much of the tip is where you want to be. The tippy tip. Unless you're trying to do a thick to thin situation where the line gets wider, you want to be on the very tippy tip. And again, after you load your brush, kind of roll some of that off to give yourself a nice fine point, okay? Thank you for watching. Let me know if that helps. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you.